Hey, everybody.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome. It's Don't Worry Wednesday.
That's right.
It's a great show.
That's right.
Yes, it is the show. Welcome to all the new folks
Yeah,
that
that's right.
that are joining us tonight.
That's right.
um yeah, so this is the show where we handle any issues, challenges you may be having. You feel free to just post them there in the chat. You can post them on our website, bss.studio. And or you can email us dww@bss.studio. um, or what else? Oh, find us on Discord. The email or on Discord, we will be able to keep it anonymous. On our website, we won't be able to, or on YouTube, we won't be able to keep it anonymous. But
Yeah, that's fine.
yeah, so we're not professional therapists or counselors or anything like that. We just want to be your friend and help you with in any way we possibly can. Offer you some encouragement and some love and some awesome feelings and maybe some
Awesome.
perspective along the way. And yeah, so I'm Joe, and above me is Ryan.
Hey.
Our producer is Jesse, and Princess Yellow is our hostess in the chat room, and she is back
From China.
from China.
Yeah.
She went to China and now she's back, and she's here, and yeah, it's awesome. So Ryan, you have no more beard.
I see you guys seem to be transfixed by the illusion, which I have no beard. You've been duped.
There's a little bit there.
Fully here. As you can see, it's actually just Invisipaint. So I just kind of touched it up with an invisible paintbrush, and just makes it look like I shaved. It's pretty good.
Good job.
Pretty good stuff.
I'm impressed. That's what I do with my whole all of my hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I actually stole it from your house. Sorry about that. I didn't tell you that until just now.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm surprised.
I'm friends after this. So.
Well, it usually takes me a whole bottle because I have so much hair
Mm-hmm.
to use
Oh yeah,
invisible paint
you
on.
guys should see when he doesn't use Invisipaint on his head.
Oh my gosh,
There's just so much hair. You can't see his
it's
face. So
ridiculous.
that's
It's
when he starts.
ridiculous.
Yeah, he's like cousin It. Is that the
Yeah.
right one? Yeah.
Well, I'm like cousin It mixed with a Sasquatch.
Yeah. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful sight to behold, but you can't really tell there's a person underneath all of that fur. So.
Yes, it's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And he also does it to intimidate his enemies. Apparently, hairy, fluffy things aren't as scary and as intimidating as bald things.
They're not.
I mean, you ever seen a hairless cat?
That's freaky.
It certainly is. It's freaky. It's not necessarily intimidating. I guess a lion is more intimidating, but you know what? Freaky is the right word.
Hey, Gray says hairless cats are cute.
Yeah, sure.
Hey, some people love them. Or they probably wouldn't be around if some folks didn't love them.
That's true.
Yeah.
I guess, but there's not very many people who love rats, but some people do, and enough people do that rats still exist. Apparently, that's how that works.
That's how that works.
Yep, mosquitoes. Somebody loves them. Curse that guy.
I was just gonna say that. You know what? I'm probably not allergic to a hairless cat.
Oh, that's true.
That's
actually
possible.
That's actually one of the reasons why some people get hairless cats.
My kids are bugging me. They want to have a cat. And so maybe I could just say, all right, you want a cat? Bad enough. We have to have a hairless cat.
I'll get you this ugly thing. You take care of it. No.
That's awesome. Well, so at any rate, welcome everybody. Oh my gosh, we've got a whole bunch of topics. We've got new ones coming like crazy, looks like.
Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Wow, you guys are amazing. Let's see here. So let's see. We have one from Winter. Winter, I see that you're here. Well, let's start at the beginning, and we'll see We'll see if anybody's here. We got Angel, Dead, Knox, Amira, Deku, Aaron, Nathan, Amira again, Bakugo Lover, Sunrisuke, Random, Karma, Winter, Aaron again, Kendra, and Winter. Again, we got Winter.
And
We got
Kendra
Winter all over the
again.
place. Huh?
And Kendra again.
And Kendra, yes. Yes.
So we got
So
a Winter Kendra going on here.
we do. We got that kind of thing going on. So
It's all good. Yeah, of the people that were mentioned just there, looks like we got Winter. Nice. Okay, cool. But yeah.
Well, we should start with Winters then. But I think we handled, there's one here called Everything is Pointless. Did we do that one already?
Everything is pointless. Did we do that?
Yes. Yes, we did.
Yes. Yes, we did. Reading the beginning line. Yep, we did that one.
We did that one. Okay.
So I guess we just go to miracles, right?
Yeah. So we'll move on to miracles.
Did you take the time to explain what the show is, what we're doing here?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I probably zoned out.
Did you zone out?
I might have zoned out.
Yeah, I did that right at the beginning, and then I introduced everybody.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, we just didn't. A lot of times we do the small talk first.
No, it's
I just went right in.
Cool. Thanks.
I was pretending there was intro music going on, and I had to get all that out of the way during the intro music.
Okay, good idea.
But the intro music was over already.
It's all right.
Yeah. Any others done? I think we did Aaron, the girl of my dreams.
Yes, we did.
Also. And maybe topic redo. Oh, that was topic redo.
Aaron, yeah, we did topic redo. The girl of my dreams was kind of like just canceled out, so we don't need to do that one.
Right. Okay.
Turned into the topic redo. So.
Yes. Oh, sorry. That's Sorry, everybody. We're just kind of doing some housekeeping. Princess is so amazing. She handles a lot of the stuff behind the scenes of what we've handled and the list of things that are still outstanding and everything. And she's been gone. So yeah, we're just kind of getting all that straightened out and getting everything synced up properly. So we should just go on with Winters here. And this is called Miracles. So I will post a link here so you guys can read along. How about that? So, all right. So this is from Winter. It's called Miracles. And it says, everything's going great. I've made lots of self-improvement. Recently, I rekindled my faith in God in a way that it hasn't been before. As a result of me gaining faith, my fears from previous posts were put to rest, and I learned not only how to forgive others, but also how to forgive myself. I learned that I am capable of being loved and what love really is. Now on to the main issue. I've been banned from Static's Discord server for a while now, despite improvements. Not a single staff member wishes to even speak to me despite improvements. That being said, any normal person would give up and quit, but I'm not normal. My mind is always racing with solutions and possibilities, so should I continue to find my way back somehow? I don't have any other online friends anymore as a result of cutting ties for the better, meaning that I can't go up to a friend and ask to be a part of their friend group. I also enjoy this Discord community, and it's not often that you find people who are so alike and yet so different and wholesome, loving and caring all at once. I don't really believe in the word impossible. I believe there's always hope for a miracle. So if I should continue trying to get back what I lost and loved, what should I do? Is there anything you can do or that someone else can do? And what can I do as well? They've lost trust in me, but they haven't bothered to notice any improvements or speak to me or anything. But I don't want to give up and lose something so special to me because I feel my changes, my efforts, and myself is worthy of another chance. I haven't come all this way just to quit after all. Also, thank you, Joe, for the comment on this post. I read it and I think I understand it. Maybe, maybe not. It might take me a little bit to decipher it, but thanks nonetheless. I'll keep it in mind. Also, as a side question, mainly for Static, no offense, Joe, none taken. Since my dream is to eventually move to Japan and have a new start, and since I just love all things Japanese, although Japanese music is what got me into Japanese culture, I want to have a Japanese name. What Nihonjin no name
Good job, Joe.
would you think fits me? Did I say that even close to correctly?
日本人の名前。
No name.
Mm.
Yes.
That's pretty good.
That's what I said, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's what you said.
That's exactly what I said.
That is sounded. It sounded 100% the same. I just tried to copy the way you said it.
So anyway, so that's from Winter. Winter, thank you so much for the post. And boy, I'm not sure why you're still banned from Static's Discord server. Luckily, Static is here, and
yeah, I am. That's true.
he might have a little bit of an answer for that. Other than that, I'm going to turn it over to Ryan and see what he's got to say.
All right. Yep. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn it over to Joe. No, just
Mm.
no, slightly above average Joe messaged here, and I skimmed through it a little bit. It looks like a really good read, so I'm glad that he was able to post here. Joe is a very awesome guy.
He is.
Both Joes are. This Joe that we have with us now, and slightly above average Joe.
The other Joe's better.
When I say that in that order, it makes it sound like he's better than you. Okay,
he is.
That's not the case.
I'm fully aware of that.
Science says that your Japanese speaking is better than he's ever heard in his entire life. So he supports you. Okay.
Thanks.
So
thanks, Science.
all right. So I guess on your first question, what you said Nihonjin no namae would you think fits you? So that means what Japanese name would fit you? And I don't know. I'm not one to give things names so quickly. I'm curious what your real name is, and how they would say that in Japanese. One thing that I really like about Japanese and the way that they say their names, like their English names, usually it's pretty much all wrong, and that's fun. Like my favorite English name to say in Japanese would be Bernard. Because of the way that language works, it would be Burunardo. It's a lot more syllables. Burunardo instead of Bernard. So I'm not sure. I guess I can't answer that for you, but I wish you luck on your adventure there. I guess no. Okay, anyways. Burunarudo. Yeah. Okay, so anyways, onto the question here, the main issue, the actual thing here. Yeah, so sometimes you kind of get removed from a group or a certain position in life. Maybe you have a job and you actually like the job, or you have certain friendships there, or communities or things that you did at that job, and then you get fired, and then all of a sudden you lose all those things, right? And you get into this position where it's like, well, do I try to keep on going back to work and getting reemployed. Unfortunately, a lot of times at a workplace, you can't do that. So, um, in that situation, and I think in many situations, life moves forward, and sometimes it kicks you out of things. Sometimes it moves you from one place to another without you really choosing to do that. Or maybe you look back in hindsight or retrospect and you go, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. But here I am now. What am I going to do now? And so make sure you're always looking forward to the future and not focusing on the past too much because um, but rather it's okay to focus on the past and learn from it. But if you are trying to gain back what you've lost, a lot of times it's not as productive as aiming for something you want in the future. You know, if you put a list together of the things you desire, you want to have, sure, some of those things might be the things that you've lost, but it's more important to focus on what you can gain than what you have lost. Um, because, like I said, sometimes life just moves on its own,
Mhm.
and you have to pick up the pieces and start moving forward with whatever you have. Um, Now, is it wrong to want the things that you've lost or things that have been taken away? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Um, but it's always important to have that forward moving momentum. And I think that's what you have here. I think you intend to move forward. Um, Sometimes we want to go back to the things that we've lost because we want to redeem ourselves. Um, like in this situation, you have the opportunity. If you had the opportunity to go back, you might desire that opportunity in order to redeem yourself and make better what you didn't do a good job at before. You know, and that can be a luring thing, but it's actually mostly based on pride and not necessarily the good of others around you and who you are as yourself. If you try to, you know, it's not wrong to make friends, but if you go out there to make friends for yourself, then that's really you just searching for something for you, not searching for, like, what I'm saying here is, do you attempt to get into a community to give them love and shower them in love and lift them up? Or do you intend to get into a community to lift yourself up? Um, I think that your intention matters uh, in life. And so I think that your intentions are good. And even if you do want to help yourself, that's not wrong, right? It's not wrong to desire to be in a group of people that are uplifting. I think that's a very good thing. Just wanting to be around them to gain that attitude is a really good thing. Um, but as far as coming back to the server, for example, um, you know, your intention really matters a lot, um, because it's not a matter of how people see you. It's a matter of what you're doing there, why you want to be there, and what you're doing for others. Um, you know, I understand, like, if you are kicked out of a place, right? You want to go back to show everybody, like, hey, that's not who I am. Like, there are many times in our lives where we get condemned or we get um, ostracized, or things get said about us, or people see us in a certain light, and we go, that's not us, that's not me, that's not who I am. I'm not like that, or I'm not that way anymore, right? And it hurts to have those people see us that way and treat us that way, even though that's not who we are, right? And that pain can cause us not only to be defensive and try to defend ourselves, say, hey, that's not who I am, but it can cause us to even go out of our way to try to join that community in order to prove them wrong, right? Um, Now, is that wrong? No, I wouldn't say that that's wrong, but it is an interesting thing, because it, again, is a lot about your intention. Um, are you doing good for them by proving to them that you are not who they think you are? you're not really changing anything for them. You're just trying to prove something about yourself. You're not making their lives better by proving a point about yourself that they got wrong. You're just trying to make you feel better, right? In that type of scenario, if someone were to do that. Now, I'm not saying that that's what you're trying to do. I'm just saying that that is something that some people do, um, and something that I know that I have done. It's something that is not really rewarding. Um, there have been times where I've been subjugated or sorry, objectified, or people think something about me, and then I go on my way to prove them wrong, and in the end, it does nothing for me, other than maybe sometimes I regain some respect, but most of the time it's just like, okay, okay, and then I move on because we're not friends anymore, anyways. And so then it's like, why did I waste my time? I could have just spent that time moving forward, you know? Um, it's just kind of interesting how we can spend a whole lot of time and energy on something that um, we don't need to prove. If we're already better, we don't need to prove everybody that we're better. We can just be better without proving it. I think that's really the beautiful thing here, is because you've already done what matters. You don't need to go and prove to everybody or show to everybody that you've done it, because you've already done it. And it doesn't change anything if they know or not. So, because it doesn't change who you are, right? Um, so, my point in all of this is to say, I think it's better to move forward in life rather than trying to prove that you've changed and just continue changing. Um, because the proof will be in the pudding. If anybody decides they want to talk to you, they will find out for themselves who you are, right? And I understand how difficult it can be when people um, don't want to talk to you and you really want them to, so that you can show them, like, hey, I'm not that person anymore, and I want to make things good. I want to be a part of that community and have friends there, and etc. um, but as people often say, there's plenty of fish in the sea. There's a lot of other opportunities and people out there waiting for you. um, Now, on behalf of my staff, you could say, they're not really hired. They're people who have um, stepped up themselves and said that they want to help. And I said, okay, sure, go for it. Um, as far as the StattyP Discord server goes, um, they have put their own emotions and hearts and actions on the line, and just themselves, and said, hey, I'm going to step up and try to make this place come together and work. And so sometimes that means like banning somebody, or sometimes it means, um, you know, changing roles around and all sorts of different stuff. But one thing that I've relayed time and time again to them, and they know this, is that they need to give people chances. And they give people chances a lot. They really do. Um, and I think I'm very proud of them for that. A lot of people, as soon as they don't like somebody, they like to shut them up. um, but I think that a lot of the people on my server don't do that. They do a good job at, when there's a conflict, they give the person multiple chances. And the thing is, I think you've probably had all of those chances. And knowing the Senna, the person that you were in contact with a long time in contact with for a long time. Um, I know that she gave you a lot, and a lot of time and a lot of chances, desiring the best for you, right? And sometimes we don't get to see the changes that we impact on people. Um, sometimes we work really hard and we don't see any results in a certain individual, but years later, they are a better person for the time we spent with them. And we don't necessarily see that. And I think that's kind of what she's trusting in. She's trusting in the idea that she's worked really hard with you to do her best for you, and um, has now decided to move on and not talk to you anymore because she can't keep it up, if you will. Um, and so she's leaving it in the hands of fate and in your hands. Um, and in a way, that's saying something because it means that she believes that you can move forward on your own without her. Um, and so that, in a way, means she knows that you're capable. So most of me just wants to come back to spread life and joy and have fun and have adventures with ones that I do love, which are the ones that are on the server. Yeah, okay. Nope, I get it. Um, I would have to talk to everybody there and confirm that that's an okay option. Um, but based on the situation, I think don't count on that working out well for you. Um, and it'd be better for you to intend to move forward regardless of whether you get to come back or not. And I understand you just want to come back and have fun, but um, it's not entirely up to me because we're a community of people, right? And we try to make some choices together. And I don't hold all the power. Well, I do hold all the power, but I share my power.
I've
So
got the power. I have none of the power,
yeah.
actually.
So, anyways, it's not entirely up to me, um, because I don't want it to be entirely up to me. Um, yeah, I technically have the final say. Yeah, I have the say. I could just delete the server. Yep. um, but yeah, sure. And I have many times stepped in and said, you know what, we're gonna give this person another chance. Even though everybody else is freaking out about this person or this individual, I'm gonna give them more chances. I'm gonna help them, or I'm going to allow this person to be this certain role because I want them to live up to that. I want them to grow into that position, even though they're not good enough right now. They aren't acting like they are good enough for that role. I'm going to put them in that spot. And you know what? Sometimes it backfires, but most of the time, people will surprise you and they'll do their best and live up to beyond your expectations when you put them in places and you trust in them. Um, but that being said, yeah, um, it's not entirely up to me, and that's why I'm saying this. It's better to move forward and move on, and um, find new friends and meet new people. Um, is all hope lost in you coming back to the server? I don't know. Maybe not. Um, but like I said, I'm not going to leave it entirely up to me and in this conversation, you know. So, um, I mean, we can come back to this in a little bit, but let's hear what Joe has to say about everything here.
Oh my. Well, as far as everything with the server goes, I am so disconnected from that I really don't have any I don't have any input as far as that is concerned. But I do like what Ryan was saying about moving forward. It sounds to me like you're already moving forward. Um, if you've rekindled your faith in God, that's awesome,
Hmm.
and that can bring a great deal of comfort no matter what's going on. I can just relate in some ways where I mean there are people. Let's see. There have been times in my life when I've been hurt a lot by people, and sometimes it was because it was retaliation from me acting in a hurtful way toward them. Now, maybe I wasn't intending to be hurtful toward them. It was just neglect on my part. And so by the decisions I made, just trying to do the right thing, I ended up hurting people. And then, from in their response, they ended up doing things that were hurtful to me. Um, and so I've been through that, and I can remember, um, at least there was a time in my marriage that was really, really, really difficult, and I know I've mentioned that before, but this is a person that we had, we made a commitment till death to, be in the closest relationship possible, where here we are, we're husband and wife, and we have children. And there was a time when this was really, really difficult and painful. And we're still working our way out of it, but it's way better than it was, a few years ago. But there was a time when, like, it was so hard because there was so much animosity between us. There's so many bad feelings. It was just really, really hurtful and hard. And the only I mean, I had friends, but I couldn't really go, I didn't want to go too far into it, because with my friends, we had goals, and we had things to do, and we had stuff we were trying to accomplish, and that was awesome. And so part of my personal life wouldn't necessarily come into that. But I can remember in those quiet moments, just when I felt so alone, because I felt like my wife hates me. I don't get to, interact with my kids very much. I work all the time, and, everything just seems like it's falling apart. And it was so hard and so painful and just so lonely and cold. And it, I can remember in those moments, the only person I could turn to was God. And I didn't even really know how to turn to God necessarily all the time at that point. Like, my brain was so clouded by everything. It was just like, okay, I mean, I know that you're there, God. I have not lost my faith, but, like, everybody feels so distant, including God felt distant. And that's a really tough spot to be in. And so I can totally relate to that. In those moments, sometimes you just curl up and cry. I've been there before. Sometimes you just sit and think for a while, and that leads to darker places. And I think, though, when I learned the power of forgiveness and the power of gratitude, a lot of things started to turn around. Now, you're rekindling your faith in God, and that's great. I'm super proud of you for that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you can begin along the path of forgiveness and thankfulness, those two things can take you a long way. One thing that I actually got a hold of, it was kind of by chance, actually, but there's this 3-step process I start my day with. And there are 3 things I do. 1, I think of something I'm thankful for. So you can do that right now. You don't have to do it at the start of your day. You can do it anytime throughout your day. But number 1 is to think of something you're thankful for, and multiple things if you can. A lot of times I try to think of 3 things that I'm thankful for. So I've got that, and then I start thinking, okay, I'm thankful for this, I'm thankful for this, I'm thankful for this, and that just starts me, focused in the right direction. Then the next step is to think of 3 things that I'm looking forward to. And I'll be honest with you, a lot of times, one of those 3 things is my death. I know that sounds morbid, but I look forward to meeting my creator. I look forward to entering into that phase of existence. It's kind of like, I look at it as graduation. Now I'm not going to do anything to take my own life. My life has a course. I'm here for a purpose. I understand that. And I'm going to use my life to as full as I possibly can, but I still look forward to that day when I graduate, and meet God face to face. I look forward to that day. And there were times like in the dark moments of my marriage, you know, when I was like, well, till death do us part, huh? Well, Lord, take one of us. I don't care who, you know, I'll go first. You know, like, because this is like super hard.
Ugh.
But so that's something to look forward to. And I would look forward to, you know, buying a house or a certain piece of property. I look forward to, you know, Black Static and Swerve being a huge global community of thousands, tens of thousands, even millions of people all coming to this forum, you know, and interacting and being a part of it. I look forward to that time. So that's step number 2, is to think of things you're looking forward to. Step number 3 is where a lot of things happen. This is where anything happens. And that is 3 things that you're going to do today to move your life forward, whether it's toward your goals or it's toward the things you're looking forward to, or just in general. What are you going to do to move your life forward? So now it was genius, because now I'm looking at what I'm thankful for. So step number 1 is gratitude. What am I thankful for? That sets your mind in the right direction of thinking, oh, there are good things in my life. So that sets you on a positive note, right? So that's the gratitude part. Next is, what are you looking forward to? That gets you moving forward, like Ryan was talking about. Move your life forward. What are you looking forward to in your future? It says here you're looking forward to moving to Japan.
Mm-hmm.
That's a great thing to look forward to. And you could, you know, that's going to be like a whole new life, which would be great, because there are times when I look back at, you know, earlier phases of my life and I'm like, man, I really messed that up big time. I'm glad that I was able to move past that and just leave that part of my life behind, you know, and totally move forward. There have been times for that. So that's what's great about step number 2. Now you're focused on looking forward, which is great. Step number 3, that's where the rubber meets the road. That's where you're taking action. And then you actually do those things. I don't always do the 3 things I say I'm going to do. I don't always get all of them done. I try, but sometimes things get in the way and I just can't get them done. But when I get any of them done, it feels great, because then I know that I've moved my life forward. Today, I took some major steps forward in producing music. I figured a few things out, some things that I needed to tweak in some parts of my process, and I really made some huge steps forward today, and I was so excited for that. You know, it was like a breakthrough moment, and you're going to have those too, but it takes doing something to have those breakthrough moments. You're never going to have a breakthrough moment just sitting there. And that's why step number 3 is so important, is because you're taking action and you're doing something productive. You're moving things forward. And through that, you're going to find, wow, now you can create more things to be thankful for, because I'm actually doing stuff. And so today, now I had these breakthrough moments. Now that's one of the things I can be thankful for tomorrow morning, first thing. I'm thankful for this breakthrough that I had. You know, that's great. What am I looking forward to? I'm looking forward to this next release, because it's going to be awesome. You know, and then what am I going to do? I got a few tweaks to make. It's going to be great. So, yeah. It's Ryan's favorite song ever.
Mm-hmm.
It's been sitting there for 11 years or something.
Yeah, it's good.
Long time. But so I would encourage you to do that. I would just encourage you. I don't know what's going to happen with the server, like Ryan said, you know, but whatever happens there doesn't have to affect you,
Right.
because you can move things forward. And I would take this time and try and do something creative. I know we've talked about some of your creative outlets before. Go back and do an inventory of things you can create. Maybe you've started some things and they just need to be dusted off and continued. I've been there before, where I've had a whole bunch of stuff started. I sat there and I looked. I actually have in my where I do a whole bunch of goal setting and planning and, all my tasks, and I keep all that stuff kind of organized. I had totally lost track of a part of this. And let's see, I'm actually looking at it right now. I have all these different projects that I have, and all of them are songs that I've started that are somewhere in the process of either being written or being produced or something. And I'm looking at it like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I've got 11 songs in progress right now, and one of them is just about done now,
Good.
like in the very, very last phase. But yeah, so I'm like sitting there, I'm like, wow, when I have moments of where I'm needing to let out some creative energy, I've got 11 options that I just pick one and I can dust it off and I can keep it going. And I bet you've got some of that same type of stuff, Winter. I'm sure there's some stuff going on for you that maybe you've just forgotten about, maybe just got set aside, and life kind of clamored its way in and got in the way. But I'd imagine you've got some of that going on too. And I would encourage you, take a look. Akil says, "Excuse you, Joe, you're not supposed to make more songs than Ryan."
I would
Believe
be
me,
fine with it.
I'm not. If you saw the list of Ryan songs that are in progress right now, oh my gosh, I'm like this
Yeah.
little raindrop,
Ooh.
which also is a song.
Yeah. Nice. Like I see what you did there. That was good.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's a little inside joke for some of us. Some of you guys know it, I'm sure. But anyway, that's what I have. Ryan, do you have anything to continue on this?
Sure. You know, Winter, I don't see you ever messaging me on Discord. So when you say like you reached out to the staff, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like you didn't reach out to me. So feel free to send me a word or two, if you can find me on Discord. My Discord is static-p number 4545. So if you want to talk sometime, hit me up. Like, it's cool. um so anyways, yeah, and not all hope is lost. If you really want to join, I mean, we're not going to ban anybody forever. We just need to make sure that everything is gonna be hunky-dory. um and I think right now the major issue is not necessarily you. um by the way, what I mean by that is um sometimes in life you might feel like you're the one being punished, but the issue isn't necessarily yours anymore. You've done what you can to fix it, but the feelings and situation still lingers.
Mm,
um and so sometimes, like in this example, um it's very possible um that the staff doesn't want to have you back because they haven't overcome their own issues yet, and they don't trust themselves um, to be able to trust you. And that's just how it is sometimes. And when that's the case, it's not your fault. So make sure you don't take any offense to that. And that's just how things are sometimes. Sometimes, in order to avoid drama, um, people do silly things, I guess. Um, but uh, you know, don't take any offense to you being banned. If you've become a better person, um, then just keep on doing that. It's awesome. I'm really proud of you, and you're a part of this community. Whether you're on the Static Discord server or not, doesn't really change the fact that you're here with us right now. And for me, this is honestly, that I spend more time here than on the server. This is where I'm at. This is the community that I talk to the most. is you guys. You guys who show up in the chat for Don't Worry Wednesday and Don't Fret Friday. So, um, to me, this is the hot spot. Um, but anyhow, yeah, um, you said sometimes the hardest thing for you is knowing when to quit or how to quit. You said, I do have difficulty giving up though. Like I don't know how or when to quit. And that can be a hard thing to discern, a hard thing to figure out in life. Um, and sometimes we quit just because we give up emotionally, like we're no longer emotionally charged. Like, you know what? I don't really care about it anymore. I'll just move on. And I think that's usually what happens to us. We chase after something, and then we're just like, you know what? Nah, I'm gonna stop that, and then you move forward. Um, but if it's something you really care about, how do you get to that point where you're able to move forward, or how do you get to a point where you can control yourself enough to just say, no, I'm gonna quit cold turkey, or I'm just gonna stop. And I think that can learning that is again, it's a form of self-control. And I think we've talked about self-control before, but I think one of the best ways to gain self-control is by acting out self-control in smaller ways first. um, Joe and I have talked about fasting. Now, depending on your age, you might not want to fast from food entirely, like only eating one meal a day. But what you can do is, it can be food, it can be anything, it can be a certain event, but put it off for a time and then pick it back up. One of the things I used to do is, while I was driving around doing inspections for my job, I would have my sandwich sit next to me, and then I would eat half of the sandwich and I would still be hungry. And I'd be like, no, I'm going to let that sit there for like 2 hours before I pick it up again. And I'd watch the timer and I'd be like, oh man, you know, that sandwich is tempting. And I'd be like, and then I forget about it for a few minutes, and then I, notice the time and I'd be like, oh yeah, the sandwich. And I'm like, oh, I want this. Oh, nope, I'm not going to have it. And then 2 hours pass and then I eat my sandwich. And you know what? Sandwich tastes way better. when I Sandwich is so much more of a reward. It's because before the sandwich was just like food. It was just sustenance. It was just like, it's just like blah, whatever. It's a sandwich. But when I waited for it and I felt like I've done something to, I don't know, almost celebrate that it exists by putting it off and then eating it, not only did the joy and satisfaction of eating the sandwich improve, but it also taught me self control. And you can do that with almost anything. You can do that with many different types of activities, whether it be, holding off on entertainment or lowering the amount of entertainment you take in and choosing to do something else. Um, and that can be anything. And it could be picking something up that you don't necessarily like doing, like exercise. Not a whole lot of people like exercise. Try just doing exercise for 5 minutes every day. Try that. That's not hard.
Mhm.
Maybe not even 5 minutes. Start with like do 10 push-ups in the morning when you wake up. When you wake up, before you get out of your room, before you put your clothes on, do 10 push-ups. That's something little, but
Or one.
or one, just one.
When
Yeah.
I started exercising again a few years ago, when I was like, okay, I finally push came to shove, and I was like, I got to start exercising again. I couldn't do 10 push-ups.
Oh, really? I didn't know
Nope,
that.
I couldn't do 10.
Wow. How many can you do now?
I don't know. Depends.
Okay. All right.
Depends on the type of push-up. If they're black belt push-ups, not as many as normal push-ups.
Okay, we're talking about normal push-ups.
No, normal push-ups, I probably if I like take a rest like at the top, for a
Uh-huh.
few seconds and then continue, I could probably
Oh,
do
okay, with
80,
weights.
80 or 90.
80 or 90. That's crazy. I can do 10. I was figuring Winter's stronger than me, so I was like, just do 10. It's not that big of a deal. No, okay, so do like 5. Do whatever you can, right? Do 10.
Or wall push-ups, where you lean
Oh,
against the wall
oh, okay.
and push against the wall.
Oh, okay. That's a different one. Yeah. You
Yep.
know, so yeah, do one push-up. Anyway, this is just a form of fasting. This is something that you are choosing to re you're choosing to put off for a time or choosing to take up for a time. And what it does is it's just little things, but it trains you in self-control. So then when push comes to shove and you say, you know what? I don't need to be chasing this anymore. I just need to quit. You can quit and just quit and just say, okay, I'm done with it. you know, that is a beautiful thing, self control. And it's not easy, but yeah, you can obtain it. And it starts with small things, baby steps, and
Mhm.
eventually you work your way up to the bigger things.
Yep. And don't despair, like Ryan was saying. The situation with the server might be, it's likely that it's not permanent. But I
Yeah, it's
bet
probably
you,
not permanent.
yeah, I bet you that, if you got focused on moving to Japan and you got focused on that new life and you're starting over and you got focused on some other projects and everything,
Hmm.
it would not bother you at all that you weren't on that server.
You wouldn't think about it.
You wouldn't even think about it. There was one time in my life where I burned a bridge to a job. There have been a few times in my life where I burned bridges in general. One time with relationships with people, and burned massive bridges one time. And then also in a job, I burned bridges. And, you know, I don't recommend that because that's really just a lot more pain than you need to necessarily have. You don't need to necessarily do that. But I learned some things about that. And that, yeah, even though I mourn the loss, and it was my fault, I'm the one who did the things that burned the bridges in both cases. And I still feel some pain of loss when I think back, and I'm like, okay, I feel bad. I could have handled that a lot different. Knowing what I know now, I definitely could have handled that different. But there's so much good in my life if I choose to focus on it, and if I choose to be thankful for it, and if I choose to look forward to the things I'm moving toward. Then all that stuff in the back, that those times where I made big, massive mistakes and burned bridges, I don't have to worry about those because they don't define who I am in my future. Those are something that happened in the past, and those are mistakes that I made that I've learned massive lessons from on how not to do things. And you can definitely take that away from here. And you may still, even 10, 20 years from now, look back on experiences that you've done now and still feel some kind of pain because you're like, man, I really did mess that up. But I look back on that, I'm like, if I hadn't messed that up, I wouldn't treat people the way I treat them now. I wouldn't be as loving and as caring as I am now. I wouldn't cherish people that I have around me as much now if I hadn't have gone through that experience. If I hadn't have gone through that experience, I wouldn't, you know, understand about burning the bridges to a job, how hard that can make things for you. Because now there's a company that I will never, ever, ever work for again. And I've applied there a few times because it was what I knew, it was a job that I knew I could do and everything like that. But I have been absolutely blacklisted at that place, and they will never hire me again, ever. And oh, it's just how it is. So I've had to move on. and learn some lessons along the way, but I've got a lot to look forward to, and you do too.
Mhm. Absolutely. It's so true. Once you put your mind to something in a forward direction, the hauntings of the past don't affect you so much because you're not focused on that anymore. Your focus is on something else, and so those things don't mean so much to you anymore. The pain can still be there, but that pain also is what increases our strengths.
Hmm.
Um, which is it feels ironic, but it's true. But yeah, we never ban anybody because we just don't like them. That's not what Black Static and Swerve's about, And we want people to eventually come back, but it's just a matter of when is that good to do and when is it not good to do.
Hmm.
Um,
And
so
you're not banned from BSS.studio.
right, you're not banned from the forums. You're not banned from here,
Hmm.
and so you're more than welcome to obviously hit other people up in the community. Honestly, you are completely okay to go use Discord to talk to people outside of the server. And you are like, you can message me, you can message other people.
You can message me. I'm easy to find.
Message,
CDVNL. There's no other CDVNL in the world.
there's no other CDVNL. There you are. Yep. That's such a unique name. So yeah, I mean, yeah, you're a part of our community. You're a part of our. You're like family, man. So don't don't sweat it. But yeah, just aim for the good stuff in life. It's all gonna be good.
Hmm. Yeah, imagine having Joe as a name.
All right, see you, Winter. Thanks for sticking with us. Um, Japanese lessons, awesome. Good
Sweet.
luck.
You
Yeah.
probably speak Japanese way better than I do. Nihonji no name namai.
Yeah. That's it.
Clearly, that's
Yeah.
it.
Yep.
Well, Winter, go with our love because you know we love you.
Mm-hmm. Have an awesome time.
Hmm. And
Bless,
thanks
bless.
again for posting. Thanks for putting up with us as we went through this long and drawn out response. My
Yeah. Well,
goodness,
it's okay. It's not like we have anybody else.
we do. Kendra's here.
Oh yeah. Hey Kendra, welcome. Yeah. Kendra is here. Well,
Yeah,
let's do Kendra's then.
we should. We should do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I did post it. I did just we got an anonymous one on the email,
Oh, that's right. We did.
so that's posted there as well. Kendra says, "Hey, could we do the new one?" Yes, the one you just posted 20 hours ago. Would that be the one?
Changed feelings or shot down confidence? I'm guessing.
I'm guessing changed feelings. Yeah.
Yes. All the anime have it wrong. You're right, Science. The way that Joe is saying it is definite is the official way of speaking Japanese. So
Yes.
anybody
Yes.
else who says it differently is totally out of their wits.
Yes. Oh, I just posted that. Princess, you already posted it. So, well, now it's there twice. Okay.
Well, perfect. Now people can click on it twice
They
and
can.
experience it twice.
I got that beautiful Kansai dialect. It's kind of like I think it's kind of like a Midwestern American Japanese accent.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just a specific type of accent. That's all.
Right. In fact, it was hilarious. When we're at martial arts, sometimes they're like, okay, when we're stretching, they're having us count to 10. When okay, touch your toes, count to 10, right? And so you go 1, sir, 2, sir, 3, sir, 4, sir, and stuff. And then they're like, okay, count to 10 in Korean.
Mm.
And so somebody goes, uno, sir, dos, sir.
Ah, yes, that's the Korean I know.
That's
Mhm. The one that sounds exactly like Spanish.
yes.
That's great.
Oh, yes. So anyway, all right. How do I pronounce Hiroshima? Just like that. or Hiroshima.
Hiroshima. I like that one. That's
But anyway, okay, so this is from Kendra. It's called Changed Feelings. And it goes like this. As you know, I have a boyfriend that I really do love with all my heart, but recently I've been feeling a different kind of love for him. I don't necessarily love him in the romantic way anymore, but more so in a friend kind of love. When I first started to date him, I was head over heels for him, and I loved him doting on me and telling me how much he loves me. However, now that I'm older and am busy with other things, I have made many new friends. I've grown to realize who I actually am. I enjoy being with other friends and talking and being creative and helping others. But I also realize that I am a person who loves human contact and being able to hug them and hold hands and so much more. It is hard having a long distance relationship, and I've come to realize I have exited what some people call the honeymoon phase. To be honest, I feel like we aren't even boyfriend and girlfriend, and I think that that is partly my fault because I haven't told anyone in my family we are boyfriend and girlfriend. And I also kept introducing Caleb as my friend to the point where I think we are just friends. Really good friends, to be exact. However, I believe this would be good for us to grow our friendship, and then perhaps when we meet in person, we can begin to date again. I've talked to Caleb, and he is okay with this as well. However, I'm concerned that I might meet someone else and want to date them. I'm not really sure on anything with relationships when it comes to me, but when it comes to other people, I am able to give them good advice and everything works out for them with their relationship. What should I do if I meet someone else and we end up liking each other, but I'm still not sure if I'm ready to be in a relationship? Sorry this was so long, Kendra. So, wow. So that's a bit of a conundrum there because I mean, it seems like it could be cut and dry, but you never know what type of feelings you might stomp on here or there. And yeah, it can be really tough. I know Ryan has a lot more experience with dating online than me.
oh. I was gonna
So,
say I'm stumped too. This is a conundrum. Honestly, man, I don't
and
know
I
how
love that word, conundrum.
conundrum.
Mhm.
There's another word that I really like. I was thinking of earlier today, but now I can't remember where it is. So there goes that.
I like the word yes.
Yes, yes is a good word.
Yes.
I guess I'm just gonna have to respond yes to this, even though that doesn't answer your question. Um, okay, yeah. Okay, so this is interesting. Now, I like that you've gone through this. You've done some thinking on it. You've realized that you've exited what some people call the honeymoon phase, um, that emotional high, and I think that that's great. It's a wonderful thing when you exit the honeymoon phase, or rather, it's a wonderful thing when you no longer have that emotional high. It doesn't feel wonderful, um, and that's because you don't feel a whole lot because the feeling is gone. That's the whole point. It doesn't feel wonderful because the feeling is gone. But that doesn't mean it isn't wonderful. In fact, I think it's one of those things that is super wonderful. And oftentimes, what we feel doesn't really tell us anything about reality.
Hmm.
Um, and and in this case, um, in many cases, I should say, when you love somebody, but and you have that feeling for them, right? And that feeling vanishes, you feel like it's bad. But that's not the reality. It's not bad. It's just that that feeling is gone. And that's all. That's all it really means even. Doesn't mean that feeling is gone forever actually. There are ways to kick it back up. Um if so desired. I can see how you've fallen into this situation actually. You might not realize this, but being somebody who is one that shares their affection and love for others through physical contact I'm in fact surprised that you ever even dated anyone online in the first place. But the fact that you are dating someone in this long distance relationship, and you can't have that physical touch that you use to show your love and feel love, your love tank, I'm sure, if people have called it the love tank, has run dry. Your emotional high is completely gone because how can you feel loved if your main way of feeling love is physical touch and you can't physically touch it? It's like trying to say, how do I feel this microphone without touching it? I can't. And all I can do is look at it. And so it's no wonder that um, not everybody's that way. Not everybody desires physical touch. Some people desire words, and that's usually what most online relationships are based on. I think we all desire a little bit of everything, but somebody who, like you, is very strongly affected emotionally, and how your attitude is and how you feel about a certain person is heavily influenced by physical touch. How we feel about somebody else or how we feel about ourselves is really strongly linked to what we call the love language. We don't all have different languages, but there are many different languages of love. Like I spoke before, there's words. How I think about other people is often determined based on the words they use, based on how they communicate to me, is how I feel about them. Um, and if and if I was of the love language to have physical contact, how would I know how to feel about them if I can't even feel them? You know, it's one of those interesting things. So to me, it makes complete logical and emotional sense that you don't have those feelings anymore. Those those feelings that make you understand that you're in love, right? Instead, now this person has become more of a friend. And you said that they're fine with that. They're accepting that situation, and I think that's because they care about you, and I know that you still care about them. Um, I think it's important to remember that love is more than a feeling, or more than just how we see somebody, even because a lot of times how we see somebody is based on how we feel about them, and that's a feeling. um, Love is desiring the best for another, despite whatever feelings we might have, despite whatever problems they've caused for us. Love goes beyond that, right? Now, it's not saying that friendship isn't love. Friendship is love. In fact, friendship is one of the highest forms of love. I would say more often, and in fact, the Greeks talked about this. Friendship is a higher form of love than romantics, because friendship is giving it. Friendship is being for somebody. And what do I mean by that is it's interesting. A lot of people have a difficult time defining what a friendship is. And that's understandable. What is a friend? People like if you got asked in elementary school, what is a friend? And you write all these different things down. Friend is somebody who does this. A friend is somebody who does this. I think a wonderful and interesting way to describe friendship is to understand it's the opposite of an enemy. An enemy is someone who is against you. A friend is someone who is for you. If you have a mortal enemy, they live their life against you. They live their life um, to be in opposition with you, and they stand for the things that are against you. A friend is someone who lives for you, who lives with you, who lives in conjunction to what is best for you. And that's a friend. And we always hope that our romantic life, that the person that we date is also our friend. and oftentimes our best friend. Someone who strives to give us what's good in life, to bring us towards those things, um, to be for us, to be on our side, um, and that's a wonderful thing. How do you now I'm saying all of that, you can come to your own conclusions about what you want to do with your situation. I think sometimes it's just important to talk about the things you already know and bring certain things to light, bring certain elements to light, and understand, okay, well, what is love? What is friendship? What is a romantic relationship, and what is it about? What's the purpose? um what's best for me? What's best for them? um I think talking about these things can help us figure out what direction is best. um and the final thing you asked here, um what should I do if I meet somebody else and we end up liking each other, but I'm still not sure if I'm ready to be in a relationship? Um, I think that's up to you when the moment strikes. I had been presented the opportunity to date people that I liked, um, and I turned them down, and I'm glad I did because I was already taken. Imagine if I had said, "Yeah, I'll go out with you." The thing is, the people didn't know I was going out and date with. I was already dating somebody else. Um, even though I was dating somebody, I also liked this other person. And that's not good. But it happens that we're humans. That's our feelings are not always necessarily in our control.
Mhm.
Sometimes we feel things. And our feelings don't, like I said before, they don't tell us anything about reality. They're just how we choose to, or how we experience something internally. Um, and so even though I might have liked this person and they liked me too, and they asked me out, or rather they showed that they wanted to be with me, they didn't really ask me out. Um, I knew I knew that in that situation, the best thing to do was to stay loyal to the relationship, to that devotion, that dedication that I had set up before. Prior dedications override my current emotion. I think that's important in life. That's important in all things because you're going to have a dream someday that you want to achieve, right? I'm sure you have plenty. You're awesome. Um, and we've talked with you before on different things, and you have dreams. You know, your dedications are more important than your feelings in the moment. But does that mean that you can't spike up a relationship with a new person? No, of course you can. Of course you can. You get to say yes or no when that time comes, um, and you can do your own introspection. I can't tell you what's going to be best for you in life because I don't know the future, and you don't either. And that's part of the fun of life. We don't always know the right way, but one thing is for sure: we can always do our best to try to choose the right way.
Mhm.
And when we do that, things work out. Even if it causes a lot of pain, even if it causes a lot of hardship, a lot of bumpy tracks, and we're like, wow, I shouldn't have taken that path. I realize that now, you know, at the end, we come out better. We come out stronger. We come out with knowledge and wisdom and self control and all sorts of different great attributes and virtues. Because even though we chose a path that wasn't necessarily wrong, but it wasn't easy. It didn't feel good. We also kept choosing the right thing time after time after time that we believed was the right thing, and we grew from it. Um, I think that's what's important. So when that time comes, if that time ever comes, I don't know. You're gonna have to be the one that evaluates it. But yeah, you can always try to choose what you believe in, and I think that's important. And you can always pray about it. I think that's one of the best things that has helped me in life. It is probably the best thing that's helped me in life is prayer, spending time with God, learning who God is, and expending a lot of time in that, and using that as my guide. Using that is what gives me direction on my path to figuring out what do I need to do next, or how should I respond to this emotion that I'm feeling. If I keep God at the center and chase after that, it becomes more clear, and a lot easier to choose what option I believe in. And by believe, I mean have faith in for the future.
Mhm.
So, anyways, I've spoken for a while. I'm gonna let Joe, because Joe actually has a marriage and relationships and stuff. You know, so yeah.
Well, we gotta be careful the way you say that. A marriage and relationships.
Oh,
Wait a second.
I yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, he has a relationship that is a marriage. He also has other relationships that are with friends.
Yes, there. A good way to put that. Um, Kendra, am I right in remembering that you're a Catholic?
I wouldn't. I don't remember.
I, I
I don't remember if that's.
that that's coming to my mind. Okay, cool.
Hmm.
Yes, you're a Catholic. So, one thing you can do that has been such a huge helpful thing for me, and Ryan was hitting on this as far as prayer. Go find a place where they're doing exposition of the Blessed Sacrament or adoration, where they have the Eucharist exposed somewhere where you can pray. I can tell you so many times that I've gotten so much key insight
Hmm.
while praying in an adoration chapel or during a time where they've got exposition going on.
How can she find that out in a place near her?
What you'll need to do probably is just look up in the different parishes, the different churches around your area. And one of the best things you can do is either look through their bulletins or call if you've got a church that you go to in your area. Excuse me, just call the office, and that's how I learned. I learned about different adoration. The first time I ever went to an adoration was actually before I became a Catholic,
Yeah.
and I found it just on a whim in a bulletin, and it happened to be that day. Like they only did it like once a month on the first Thursday of every month, and they had this hour and a half time of adoration. I was like, I can go. I'm gonna go. I had just found out about that. And then in further discussion with the people at that church, I found out that in my area, they have a perpetual adoration chapel. So it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 363 days a year, because not during Triduum. But yeah, but at any rate, I found out about that, and then so then I can just go anytime, because that's either on my way home from work or home from whatever event I'm doing. I can just pop in there for a half an hour and pray. But yeah, I would definitely see if you can find a time where there's adoration going on. Check your bulletin, and if there's nothing, excuse me, in the bulletin, just call that office and ask them if there are any churches around that have adoration. They will probably know because they're all connected in the same diocese. So you'll be able to figure out a place where they got that going on. So anyway, that is one thing you can do. And when Ryan was talking about prayer, I was like, oh man, if you can find adoration, then yeah, that would be super helpful. So let's see. And actually, for anyone listening, if you're not Catholic, you can still go find adoration at a Catholic church, and it would be very, very beneficial for all of you. So anyway, it's just you're there sitting with Jesus, and it's awesome. So all right, so let's see. So as far as relationships go, I think it's really cool that you and Caleb have come to this in agreement together. You guys are not married, so you don't have to worry about, a covenant bond that's been set here. One thing you said in the chat here, Kendra, that I thought was really good. He said, I recently gave advice to my friend about being with a girl, and he told me a bit about her, and I told him what I thought. It just seems that I'm better at giving people better dating advice, yet I can't figure anything out for myself.
Yeah.
That is such a normal thing, because
Yeah,
like
that's everybody.
I know when we're in the midst of our own feelings, like it's hard to determine the right path, because our feelings kind of pull us in different directions. And Ryan is that what he said is so wise when it comes to your feelings do not necessarily correspond with reality. And that's so true. Like, I'm serious. And I'll tell you what, I'm married and I have children, and just being married does not turn off, moments of attraction for others. That still exists for everybody, even when you're married. Now you discipline yourself and you can, kind of shut things off. And when you start to go down that path and how to kind of stop it before it starts, kind of a situation. But it still happens. And that's why there's so many people that have affairs. There are websites set up for people who are married to, have affairs with other people who are married. And it's like, it's crazy the amount of that stuff that's out there, just because, it doesn't shut off when you get married, right? But here's the thing. The reality of the situation is, if I was to pursue a relationship romantically, with someone who's not my spouse, it would damage the lives of so many people. My wife, my children, if they're married and they have children, all of them, generations down the road. I mean, these things can have generational ramifications, but that's involved in marriage. So that's irrelevant to your situation with Caleb here. I will say this, that if you were to meet someone else and you liked them and started dating them, there's a possibility, I don't know how remote this possibility is, but there's a possibility that it could really hurt Caleb's feelings. No matter what he's said, no matter what he's agreed to, no matter what, has gone on, there's a possibility that that's the case. Now, you know him better than I do, so you know the situation you're in, the conversation you've had with him, as far as, hey, let's just be friends. Does that mean it's okay for both of you to date other people? Does that, did you talk about that? Was there any of that conclusion come to? But I will say, even if somebody says, yeah, it's fine, let's date other people, it still might hurt a little bit if you started to date someone else. But I mean, really, if he's given you the okay and said, hey, you know what, we're just going to be friends for now, then, even if it hurts him, he will eventually realize that, hey, you had the freedom to do this. And if he loves you the way I believe he does, then he's going to want what's best for you, regardless of what it means for him. And that's kind of what real love is. Like Ryan was talking about, real love is desiring the best for another person. Sometimes at the expense of ourselves. And that, hey, that's how it works. But one thing you mentioned that I thought was interesting in your post, you said, what if we end up liking each other and I'm still not sure if I'm ready to be in a relationship? In my personal experience, I don't think I've ever really been ready.
No one's ready
for a relationship.
Say, I'm
There are
so ready for a relationship right now.
right. Well,
No,
it's
you don't need
weird.
a relationship, my friend. You are not ready.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, you've
Yeah,
got the wrong idea, is what you have.
right. Right. We just got to get swept off into it, and then we figure it out as we go along. It's the same thing as having children. People say, "Well, I'm going to wait till I'm ready to have children," and it's like you're never going to be ready for
I'll
that.
be ready for that. You can do nothing to prepare yourself. I mean,
No, I mean you can, but even then, like seriously, there's nothing that prepares you for that moment when you meet that human being for the first time, the brand new human being that's your responsibility. And it's like, whoa, that's crazy. And Science Rocks, that's so perfect because Science Rock says, I'm ready. 5 seconds later, I'm not ready.
I'm not ready. Yeah.
And that just goes to show that what Ryan said was true. Our feelings do not necessarily correspond with reality. Our feelings may be a response to reality. Our feelings just may be something we've kind of come up with on our own. Our imaginations are so incredibly powerful. They can make us feel empowered. They can make us feel, you know, totally crushed. And nothing in the world has changed. It's just our imagination changing the way we feel. It's amazing what our imaginations are capable of. So I'll tell you, Kendra, you're probably sitting there thinking, yeah, but Joe, you haven't answered my question yet. And you're right, I haven't. Um, you've been sitting here talking for how long? You haven't answered any of my questions. I think that it's really good that you and Caleb can have these conversations. I think that says a lot about the level of your relationship, that you can have these conversations in a calm fashion. You can have them in a realistic fashion, come to an agreement of where your relationship is. You can have that discussion and actually come to that agreement, because so many times in relationships, anytime we want to talk about the relationship, it's just never gone peacefully ever. It just people's emotions just go flying crazy, and just ends up in a big mess. That's kind of been my experience. Now, you clearly are much more of a mature person than I am. So, um, so I think probably if you're truly at that point with Caleb and you guys are like, hey, let's just be friends for now. And then if we meet and we start dating and we can like each other then in person, then let's go with the flow there. I think you just go with the flow in the other parts of your life too. As you're hanging out with other friends, if you meet somebody and you're like, hey, this person's really cool and I'd like to get to know them a little bit better and maybe go out one-on-one with them. I think you just go with it, and just see where those things go. You know, Obviously, you don't have to let your feelings carry you away and just get crazy, but you know, you can definitely you're at a point where you are free to test the waters a bit, you know, where you can get to know people a little bit more. I'm not saying just jump into a crazy huge relationship right off the bat with any of these people, but take it easy, take it slow, build the friendship, and that'll be awesome. That's a great foundation for any relationship. Kendra says, I feel like I have more control of my emotions now than I did back in 2015. That's awesome.
Mhm.
That means you're growing. And that's a great thing. And you should be proud of yourself for that, because I know a lot of people who actually have digressed emotionally since since
Since
2015.
2015. Yeah.
Yep, they've gone backwards. So that you're moving forward is awesome. And I think what you've done here is a really good thing, and that you're able to have that conversation with Caleb and say, hey, this is where we're gonna be, and you guys came to an arrangement, an agreement, and everybody's cool with it. I think probably you're free to live your life, and you know, chase down some rabbit holes, I guess, if I can put it that way. But you know, see what's out there.
Yeah.
But it's always good to keep your wits about you. You know, don't let yourself get carried away. But that's just good general advice for anybody. Don't let yourself get carried away. So
You're welcome, Kendra. You're awesome.
yeah, you're gonna be just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Maybe you and Caleb are meant to be together. And this is just a time frame where both of you can grow a little bit. And then you'll meet in person or you'll get back together and your relationship will be on a whole new level. And
I actually know people who did that.
hmm,
Came together, they split, not out of aggression, but just were like, yeah, well, I guess we're done with it, and they moved
hmm,
on. And then they came back eventually later, and were like, you know what? Let's make it work this time.
hmm. Yep,
So it happens.
it absolutely does. And who knows? Who knows where it's going to go? But
Yeah. You
either way,
decide. No, not exactly.
yeah, you're going to be just fine. You're awesome, Kendra. I really appreciate you being here and all the contributions you make here. So anyway, Ryan, you got anything to
Nope.
add?
Nope. Thanks, Kendra. You're awesome. Love you.
Yeah.
I guess we can move on to like anonymous then.
Yeah, well, let's see if anybody's shown up here.
Okay.
Totally can do that first. We love you being here too. I love seeing your avatar show up. It's really easy to see your avatar because of the pink on one side and the blue on the other side and everything. I'm like, oh, Kendra's here. It's
Yeah.
awesome. So let's see. If anonymous probably isn't gonna say that they're here.
Hey, anonymous, are you here? Wink, wink.
Oh yes. So yeah, if anybody has an issue, Princess just put on there where to see it or where to put it. So we've got, I'll just do a quick run down the list. Angel, Dead, Nox, Amira, Deku, Nathan, Bakugo Lover, Sun Ryosuke, Random, Karma. If any of you guys are here, feel free to say I'm here, and we'll be happy to handle your recent post.
I'm here.
Ryan, you're here.
I made it.
You made it.
I made it. I'm here, guys. Don't worry about it.
Man. Man, oh man. So I think just as a side note, I apparently am intimidating to young children.
You're just too beautiful. They don't know how to approach you. It's like when a guy meets a woman, when a man meets a woman song.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I was helping to teach one of the martial arts classes today, and it was the Tiny Tigers. So it
Oh,
was
yeah?
all like the little 3-year-olds.
Mhm.
But then it was amazing. This one little girl, they're like, okay, we're gonna do a jump front kick and then a front kick, and one person would do it, then the other person would do it, one person do it, when the other person do it, all this, back and forth kind of thing. And I think this little girl, she must have been like 3 years old.
Hmm.
And the one girl was getting it, the one little girl, then the other one was just like, she looked at me and she got this really sad face.
Oh, jeez.
And she says, I want tacos.
She said that. I don't. Okay. Oh my. That's
I'm like, you
awesome.
do? Well, you should talk to your mom and dad. They would be the ones to ask if you want to have tacos.
Nice.
In the meantime, can you do this jump front kick?
Oh, that's awesome.
And then she just at the end she had this sad face, and then it was crazy. So most of the time these kids are afraid of me, right? But this one little girl at the end of class, she came up and she just like hugged my leg.
Aw.
And I was like, wow. My heart was like, oh, this is wonderful little girl.
Yeah, that's sweet.
And then I'd be like, okay, you're supposed to be standing at attention. So
Thanks for the hug. That is
thank you
not
for
the
the
right
hug.
posture.
Yes. This is not what we're doing right now, but thank you. Yeah, it
That's
was fun.
great.
Yep. But she wanted tacos. I want tacos.
I want tacos. Wow. You really let your emotions just take over you, don't you?
Yep.
You are 3, so
Yep, it was a beautiful thing. My leg needed attention.
yeah.
Yes. Akil, you rock. All right, so we will move to anonymouses. This came through our email, dww@bss.studio.
Feel free to message us there.
Feel free to send it there. It will be an anonymous unless you tell us not to have it be anonymous. And here is the topic. Princess, you are so good.
She's quick.
She is, wow. Princess, you're amazing. All right, and this is from anonymous. It's about a struggle to make friendships. Princess, you're just here to help. Yeah, that's true, but there's so much more because you're
Yeah.
just amazing.
You make us look bad, really.
You're full of the amazingness. She doesn't make us look bad.
Yeah, she's just so good. We're just like,
She helps us
wow.
look good.
Yeah,
Like we
no,
would
that's true.
not look as good as we
That's so
are.
true. That is so true.
Well, no, we are not as good as we look.
Yeah, that's
Does that mean
true.
we're good looking?
Probably.
Anyway. Princess, you don't make us look bad. You make us look better than we are. Because you handle this stuff. So that's awesome. So Kendra, see you later. Have a great night.
Yep,
and yes, and so we will move on to anonymous's. Okay, it's called Struggling to Make Friendships. It says on here, okay, hi. First, just wanted to say thanks to you both for the Don't Worry Wednesday videos with their good advice and all of both your songs.
Awesome.
And here's the submission part. You're very welcome, and thank you for saying so, anonymous. And here's the submission part. I struggle to make deep friendships with people. I've slowly lost all childhood friends through the years from either lack of connected interests or them moving away. Next school year at lunch, I'm either going to be sitting alone or with one other loner kid who I don't really have anything in common with. I've tried joining clubs, online communities, all of that, but I'm just naturally silent and always blend into the background. My last friend before he moved away had a large social circle, and I tried to get me into it, but I'm just awful at small talk and talking about things I'm completely unfamiliar with. Sorry, I know this is way too long to fit in the box, and I'm not sure I presented it in a way where it could even be answered well. So I think it's worded just fine, anonymous, and I really appreciate you posting. I think this is something that a lot of people deal with, and probably a lot of people that are watching this show right now and maybe just lurking. I know that I'm that way, especially when I'm watching a show like this where there's people commenting and calling and doing all kinds of stuff. I just am in the background because I don't feel like I really have anything to say, so I'm just listening.
Mhm.
So I think that's awesome. And just because you're that way doesn't make you any less valuable. So in fact, you are of infinite dignity. Remember that always. And with that, I'm going to turn it to Ryan because he's a genius.
I guess you're right. Um, no, I have to say he's right because I believe everybody is a genius. So therefore, I would have to be included in everybody. It's the only way it works. Joe is a genius, and so I guess I have to be too. Um, so okay,
Dignity.
digging in it,
Thanks, guys. Dignity.
digging in a tea. Uh, no, okay. So, anyways, yeah, struggling to make friendships with people. How do you, how do you begin that process? How do you form a group? How do you come to be? How do you become part of a group where you feel comfortable? How do you obtain relationships where you are friends, uh, on each other's sides and there for each other when you need it? Um, all great things to have in life. Um, the funny thing is, even without friendships, life is all right. Friendships, relationships are one of the most important things in life. But we're still alive even without those things, and we can still somehow make an impact on the world. Believe it or not, a great one. Um, there are many people who have secluded themselves without having any relationships and thrived, writing books that we all benefit from today.
Mhm.
There are people who went out into the desert to move away from people and just kind of live their life, maybe in dedication to God or whatever. And they sat down, maybe they wrote a little bit of books, or they just spent the days praying, or maybe started breeding animals. Um, and now we have different animals today because of it. All sorts of different things. Um, but yes, friendships are an important part of life. Relationships are part of why we're here, um, and how we make the biggest impact in the world around us today. Um, I'm going to revert to one of my um, old sayings, most common sayings, and that is, when it comes to dealing with people, what matters most is how they see themselves, not how they see you. Um, and so when you're trying to make friends, you don't need to impress anybody. They're not going to be impressed by you impressing them. You don't usually gain a whole lot of friends by showing that you're better than them.
Mm.
I mean, honestly, let's let's be real. When you look at somebody and say, "Oh wow, they're pretty much better than me in everything," I want to be their friend. No, you look at them and you're like, "Man, I hate that guy." I, I don't know. I'm not like that anymore, but I remember being like that in school. I've been blessed enough to experience life and people and relationships to understand when people are better than me in things, I celebrate that. That's amazing because it's great that they're good at something, even if it means they're better than me. Because you know what? That's awesome. That's something that's wonderful in them. And you know what? If I allow them to do those things, that's great. Rather than trying to do everything myself, if I'm their friend and we can work together, that's great that they're better at certain things than I am. So you don't try to impress people to win people over. Don't try to get in there and look good. The best thing you can do is get in there and make other people look good.
Hmm.
Because I mean, think about yourself. You want to be around the people that make you feel good, don't you? That's everybody. Think about the best friends you had in life. You probably felt the best when you were around them. You just felt good. You probably felt good about yourself. Those are the best people to be around in life. Those people that point out the good in us, that bring out the good in us and make us feel good about who we are. Those people, those people are good friends. You can be that person. You can go up to any person and tell them about themselves in good light. If you can be someone who finds the good in other people, then your ability to make friends will exceed pretty much anybody. Because that's what a friend does. That's what a friend does. And if you just get that right, the rest will come naturally,
Hmm.
right? You get down the whole point of being a friend and you do that for people. And people will reciprocate that and be like, hey, I want to be around you. And then you'll get to a point where you feel comfortable being around people of that group. You'll probably get to a point where you can be comfortable around anybody because there's good in all people.
Hmm.
Um, so I would suggest if you're trying to make friends, look at people, find what's beautiful in them, and then point it out to them. It can be hard because it can be awkward and scary, right? How do I approach this person and tell them that I like their shoes? I like their style. I like that they did that thing for that other person. I watched them do. I watched them pick up that pencil for that girl, and that was really nice of them. They didn't have to do that. Or I watched how they handled a situation, and I was impressed by them. How do I go up and tell them that? That's super awkward and weird. You know what? The person on the receiving end isn't gonna be like, dude, why are you gonna tell me about the good things about me? That's so weird. Like, get off my back. No, they're gonna be like, wow, they noticed I did that and they think that's impressive. That's cool.
Hmm.
That's how they're gonna feel. And you know what? Yeah, they might not know how to respond. They might go, "Oh, thanks," I guess, or they might go, "Oh no, no, I'm not. No, like, my shoes are ugly," or they'll point out their own flaws, right? A lot of people like to do that when you compliment them. They'll point out their own flaws. Oh well, you know what? You already started a conversation. You just got to keep it going. When I when so you probably whoever this anonymous person is, you probably know my story. Maybe you don't. I have well, you don't know all of my story. I've got a long life. I don't even know my whole story because I forget things. But regardless, uh, you know, you know, you probably heard the story where the name Static comes from, and that is online. I was this character named Black Static, and he became well known, and everybody loved him. And in real life, I had very few friends. I thought everybody in school hated me. Um, and I was not making friends. I was very shy. I didn't talk to anybody. I was a man of few words. Um, I was mostly by myself and alone. I would have been the person sitting in the lunch table at my own table by myself, like just like you're talking about. But the last 2 years of high school, I noticed that my this person that was online, that was me, but it was different. He had friends, and I was like, why? Why is it the case? That's not fair. And then I was like, wait a minute, no, why is that the case? Online, I'm different, aren't I? Online, I'm not afraid to walk up to somebody, sit down next to them in the video game and say, hey, how's it going? Oh, hey, I noticed you're new here. Or, hey, I like your headgear, whatever, I like, your suit of armor or whatever. Or just strike up a conversation. I wasn't afraid to do that online. And I realized I didn't need to be afraid to do that in real life. And I forced myself. I started to say to myself, don't you know who you are? You're Black Static. Go out there. Sit down next to that person in band that's going to freak out the fact that you're sitting next to them and be like, dude, this is awkward. What are you doing sitting next to me? and just sit down next to them and embrace the awkwardness and live up to it and just love it and be like, hey, I noticed that you are exceptional at breathing. And I just want them to you breathe. No, I'm just kidding. No, okay, don't be creepy, guys. Don't be creepy. But no, whatever you find in them that you are impressed by. And you know what? Maybe the conversation will end there. But soon enough, suddenly what happened was, even though I had done this to a few people, for some reason my attitude about me had changed. I was no longer so afraid to just talk to people. The way I walked was different. I walked as if I had more self-esteem. And people started to notice that. People started to want to be around me. And I just started lifting people up. Um, and they started lifting me up. And we all became friends. Um, and I went from having very few friends and being at a table all by myself. If I wasn't sharing a lunch with my current like 3 friends, I would just end up in lunch all by myself. But in the last 2 years of high school, completely different. I would go and people would come to me. I had a table which had any number, no matter what lunch I got out of the 3 lunches, there were people who wanted to sit down at my table. And I'm not trying to say I'm all that in a bag of chips because I'm not. I'm just a person who sat down next to people and complimented them. I'm a person who said, you know what? I'm going to force myself to get outside my comfort zone, to embrace the awkward, to be embarrassed sometimes so that I can be happy with who I am and be that person that I want to be, that person I've always dreamed of being, Black Static, or, honestly, just the best me I can be, and not be afraid of what people had to say when I tried to be that best version of me. What I found out is that people liked the best version of me, and I had been hiding that from other people because I was afraid they wouldn't like it. I was afraid to be the best version of myself because I thought if I was the best version of myself and people didn't like me, that I would feel even more worthless. I'd feel even worse. But the truth is, when I started becoming the best version of myself, when I started to try to be, not worried about what other people thought and just do what I could do to be the best version of myself, people wanted to be around me, but I didn't care. I didn't care if they hated me. Suddenly I found out who my enemies were, who my real enemies were. And you know what? I didn't care. I just tried to make them my friend. And if they didn't want to be my friend, I didn't care because it didn't matter. It didn't matter what people thought of me. So if you want to make friends, get outside your comfort zone because you cannot get comfortable, because that's ultimately a lot of times like what we're seeking. We want to be able to sit at a table at lunch and be comfortable.
Mhm.
And not feel like everybody's staring at us, or like we walk across the lunchroom to sit down in a chair. We think everybody's looking at us, and sitting down by ourselves and thinking, wow, that lonely loser. Nobody's even looking at you. No one cares. And the person that does, well, he's just a brat. Don't worry about him. All right. So, we want to be comfortable, but the only way to get comfortable in an environment that you don't understand or you don't know or you haven't experienced yet before, or you're doing it alone, the only way to get comfortable in that is to start making it comfortable by doing those things which are uncomfortable. Get comfortable with the uncomfortable. Do the things that you don't want to do, that you're scared to do, that you're afraid to do, that are going to be awkward, that are maybe going to be embarrassing, that, all these things that are outside your comfort zone. And then you will learn to be comfortable in those things. And you will be a strong person because of it. And then you'll have new things to aspire to that are uncomfortable. And then you'll try to do those things and you'll become comfortable with those things. And that's kind of how life is.
Mhm.
You have to venture forward through the dark where you cannot see to find the things you cannot see, to find the things you do not yet have. So I wish you the best on that, and you could totally do it. So I'm gonna give it over to Joe. I've talked for like 7 hours.
7
Now it's his
and a
turn.
half.
Yes, just like last time.
No, that's not true. But what Ryan was saying was great, because yeah, I mean, if you can embrace the awkward, if you can actually go out and meet people, I think what you're going to find is as you go out and do that, people are way willing to make new friends, but they're not necessarily willing to initiate the friendship. People are willing to become friends with other people as long as they don't have to make the first move in that transaction. You know, I've found that to be true so many times. Like, in fact, I made a new friend today. It was actually not really, okay. We had met, I was at a school event, okay, and we had met on my youngest son's field trip a few months ago, where we were filling up like weekend survival bags for homeless people at this one place. That was kind of what we were doing. We just like basic groceries all thrown in a bag, and then they go to the homeless shelters, and then people who are homeless, they go and they can get these free bags of food and stuff like that to help them get through the weekends. But at any rate, so we were doing that, and so we had met and just talked for like a minute at that place, and then we was off doing the task. But then today we were at another school event, and I actually just went up. I didn't recognize the guy, but he recognized me because people know who I am. I'm bald, and so they notice me, I guess, right? They what?
Super attractive.
I don't know about that, but
That's why.
being bald has its things. When you're the bald guy walking around, people remember who you are.
I know.
Ryan understands, because when you're the guy with the long hair,
yeah, no, it's true.
people remember who you are.
People remember you. Yeah.
But at any rate, so today I just, we were all standing by the fence, waiting for the thing to start or whatever, and then I ended up going up and I made eye contact with this guy, and then I went up and I shook his hand, and I just said, "Hey, how's it going? I'm Joe." And said, "Yeah, I'm Jerry. I think we met, at the other field trip, and blah 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 blah. Whose dad are you?" I was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm his dad." And "Oh, I'm her dad," and blah blah blah. And we just started talking. And the crazy thing was, like, we were there for about an hour and a half. This event was there for like an hour and a half, and it was just the kids were doing different field day events things. They were just like doing little things. And almost the whole time, this guy talked to me. He just had a lot to say. We had, I said a few things here and there, told little stories here and there, but most of it was just listening to him and asking him questions. And that's really the key. Ryan hit the nail on the head. If you go out and try to impress other people with who you are, then you're not going to get very far. But if you can make people feel good about themselves when they're in your presence and make them feel important, then you're going to go a long way, and you're going to make a lot of friends. And then word's going to get out that you're a friendly guy to be around, and it won't be long, and you'll all of a sudden have a lot of friends. A couple books, and I've mentioned these books before many times. One is How to Have Confidence and Power in Dealing with People by Les Giblin. Here's the Giblin book. I will put the link right here. That's the Les Giblin book. And then another one is How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. And hey, Joseph Bohan. Yay, books. Yes. I can't get through a Don't Worry Wednesday episode without, oh, whoops, that's the wrong link. Hold on. That's the Carnegie book. Both of those books will make such a huge, well, I'm sorry, they made a huge impact on me when I was learning how to deal with people, when I was learning how to interact with people, how to make friends, all those different things. So one thing you can do, I noticed in your post, Anonymous, that you said your two options are next year at lunch, I'm either going to be sitting alone or with one other loner kid who I don't really have anything in common with. That might be the perfect place to start, is with that loner kid. Now, it's possible he doesn't want to have any friends. I suppose that's possible.
Is it possible though? No, actually, yes.
But it's likely that he would like to have you as a friend. And it doesn't matter if you have anything in common or not. You don't need to go and tell him your interests and see if they match his interests. But, or I guess his or her, I guess we don't know if
Yeah. That's true.
male or female, either way. But you might just sit down and say, hey, you know, is anyone sitting here? You mind if I sit here? And say, and just ask some questions. They don't have to be like deep probing questions, but you know, it's just like, hey, how's it going? You know, and I noticed you over here, you know,
I noticed you're wearing a shirt today.
yeah,
Do you like shirts?
you can
Seriously? You can start conversations like that.
you can.
I do it all the time. It works.
Yep, it does work. There are many icebreakers out there that you can
Yeah.
use. My personal favorite is, hey, are you having fun in here today? Are you having fun yet? You know, and most of the time people aren't having fun.
Yeah, most of the time they're not having fun.
Just to give you the lowdown on this whole thing, because I've done this survey for years.
Yes. Well, not really.
Most of the time, people are sarcastic.
Mm.
They're like, hey, you guys having fun in here? Oh, yeah, man. We're having a great time. And then I'll sit there and I'll be like, oh, good, man. You know what? I must have to quit my job and come work with you then. And they laugh. But that, you know, those are little things that you can develop over time that, you know, you find what works for you, you know, as far as icebreakers and stuff like that. And then at first it's going to be uncomfortable, like Ryan was saying, but over time it's going to get more and more comfortable. And then, you know, the uncomfortable becomes comfortable. And then you have to find a way to push yourself out of that comfort zone to get into the next level of discomfort. And then you can grow some more. Because here's the thing, you will only grow through discomfort. As long as you are there being comfortable, you're not going to grow. I know that really sucks.
Darn it.
But it's literally true. You know, you're the only way to grow is to get uncomfortable, you know, to go through those moments of discomfort. Now, the crazy thing is, it used to always be interactions with other people that made me uncomfortable. Now it's different. Now it's just anything that I have never done before. I'm definitely way uncomfortable. Even if it's just me sitting at my computer, you know, working on my computer, you know, working on a project, something like that. If I'm doing something that I've never done before, I'm so uncomfortable, you know, inside. And I was like, oh my gosh, you know, first time I made a music video, total discomfort. I was just like, whoa, what the heck? And you know, it just kind of happens. Huh?
But you did it. You powered through.
I did. I made it.
Turned out great.
Yeah. Kind of.
way better than my first music, my first video. Jeez,
Well,
seriously,
I don't know about that, but
I do.
that's all subjective anyway.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's true.
But anyway, yeah, being uncomfortable is temporary. Here's one thing to remember. If you're having trouble getting through that, getting to that point of actually doing the thing that's uncomfortable, one thing I used to tell myself when I would do that, like I was so bad when I was meeting new people. I had to force myself to go to stores. Like that was kind of my thing. Like after I would get done working, I knew I had to meet new people. I knew I had to get out there and start meeting new people. And I would go to places where I knew nothing about anything. Businesses, different stores. I went to this one store that was it was like a supply store for people that hunted pheasants.
That's pretty specific.
Yeah. And like that kind of like field hunting, where like pheasants and birds, like grouse, little birds that
Grouse.
are on the ground, and you go out there with your dog, and then your dog goes and scares them up out of the thing, and then they fly, and then you shoot them when
Yeah.
they're trying to fly away.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till they fly away and then I'm gonna shoot them. Like,
Yeah,
haha, that's
because you
evil.
can't see them.
Yeah, no.
But so anyway, so I go into this place and I had no idea anything. My whole goal was to meet people, and it was so uncomfortable. So uncomfortable. I'm in this place where I know nothing about anything. And this particular one is funny because it was so specific to something. Like nobody went in there unless they were into this kind of stuff. And I wasn't into it at all. And this salesman was so gracious with me. I was just like, I don't know anything about this. What's this do? you know? Akil said, I heard peasant hunting.
No, no.
Wow. Oh, yes. No. But anyway, but that was so awkward. And I didn't get any friendships or anything out of the deal. But I gained experience that then next time it was a little bit more comfortable, if that makes sense. So it just kind of moves along that line. And that's why I love what Ryan said as far as embrace the awkward, because that means you're outside your comfort zone. And when you're outside your comfort zone, it means you're growing. And here's the thing I would say to myself when I went into that store that made me so uncomfortable. I would say to myself, you know what? This is going to be over soon. I'm going to walk out that door real soon. It happens to me now. Anytime I help teach a martial arts class, that is like pushing the edges of my comfort zone, especially when it's little kids. Like they made me do little kids today, like sometimes I get to do the older kids and that's a lot easier. But today they put me with the little kids. And I was like, oh. And I remember looking up at the clock and I'm like, okay, this is going to be over soon. I'm going to do the best I can, and it's going to be over soon. And you know what? I got that great story about the tacos.
Nice. Yeah, you did.
Going through that, uncomfortable experience. The little girl with a sad face. I want tacos. I'm like, man, I want tacos too.
Yeah.
But at any rate, if that's the thing, if you're trying to embrace the awkward and you're having trouble getting yourself over that hump, one thing that I've said to myself that's always really effective is it won't be long and this will be over.
I have a similar thing that I say, except for it's kind of a different wording.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's because I can use it to like avoid sin too. but
Mm.
it's um but it's more like I won't even remember this in 10 years. This is not a part of my purpose. It's not a part like, or if it's like a sin thing, but if it's like something like I have to do something,
Mhm.
I feel like it'll be over in like 5 minutes, or maybe it'll be over in like 3 hours, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Whatever it is, I probably won't even remember it in 10 years, and I'll be glad I did it.
Mm.
You know,
Mhm.
it's gonna be a lot better if I just do this, or if I just don't do this, depending on what it is. And I use that line all the time. Yeah,
Mhm. Yep,
I'll just get it over with.
that's
Just
right.
do it, and I'll be better for it in the long run.
Mhm.
And probably in 10 years, I won't even remember the exact events that took place. But one thing is for sure, in like less than a year, you won't even experience the emotions tied to it that you are experiencing when you're doing it.
That's right.
You won't feel that way when you get done with it.
Mhm.
So don't worry about how it feels, because that feeling doesn't last forever.
Right. In fact, once it's over, you have a feeling of accomplishment, which is awesome
Hmm.
because then you're like, "Hey, I did it.
Yeah,
I didn't want to do it, and I
even if
did
it's
it anyway."
awkward, you feel accomplished. Even if it's awkward and you walk away and you're like, wow, I totally screwed that up, but I
Mhm.
did it. I did it. Totally screwed it up, but I did it.
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
So
That's how that can work. So Anonymous, thank you so much for posting, and hopefully you're here or are able to listen, and hopefully that was helpful for you. But
mhm.
yeah, I really appreciate you sending the message and and enjoying the show and our music and everything. And yeah, it's great to have
Yeah.
you. So
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah, so wow guys, so it's definitely about that time for us to shut it down. So Winter, I see you made it back, and
Yeah.
here you go.
Whoa. Wow.
I'm a villain.
You are. You're daring. Daring so bad.
No.
No. Okay. I accepted your friend quest, by the way, Winter, on Discord. I saw you gave that to me. So, anyhow, thank you all for joining us.
Yes. Yes. Thank you for being here. It's been Don't Worry Wednesday. It's been great to have you all here. We're going to be back on Friday for Don't Worry Wednesday, the Friday edition.
It's going to be Wednesday and Friday next time.
It's going to be Wednesday on Friday. And yes, again, if you have any issues, feel free to head over to the website. Princess has posted the links a couple times throughout the show. You can again email us dww@bss.studio. Hit us up on Discord if you'd like to be anonymous. And yeah, any of that stuff. Go any of those places, post your comment. We'd be happy to handle it. And yeah, we just appreciate and love you guys so much. We're so glad you're here. Go to bss.studio, get involved in the forums. The Slightly Above Average Joe is back in full effect
Nice.
at bss.studio. And yeah, you guys are awesome. So thanks again. We'll see you next time.
Bye bye. Peace.
Love you guys.
Much love.